Will Colorado beat Kansas State this week in Big 12 play? That's Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football. Spencer, if the line is Colorado beat Kansas State, you in, you out, you buy, you sell. How do you feel about this matchup in Boulder?
Sell. I love Kansas State in this spot. Not like them. I love them. Kansas State is a team to me that looks incredibly prepared to win the Big 12. Not in the prettiest fashion where they throw the football and they...
The same Kansas State that got trounced by BYU?
Yes, in the most crazy, unpredictable, hectic game in which BYU's defense and special teams dominated. Call me when Colorado comes up with a dominant defense and special teams unit. Now, are they improved from a season ago? Yes, we've seen that play out. To this point in the season, I haven't yet seen enough from Colorado on either side of the ball to make me think, yeah, they're ready to go toe-to-toe with Kansas State. That'd be like a next year sort of question if Colorado can find themselves a new quarterback and a star wide receiver, of course. But no, I think that there are limits, and I feel this way about Arizona as well. There are limits, and there is an overarching limit is the word that I'm looking for there, to what two guys can do for you. Colorado and Arizona, very similar football teams. They have two guys. You know, those two guys are great. You're not going to stop them. They're going to make amazing plays. But two guys are not winning you a conference. Kansas State, much more complete football team. I think they are more balanced. I trust their ability to be more balanced on offense, even with the limitations with Avery Johnson as a passer. I trust that more than Colorado running game. I like Kansas State 34-27.
Is Jimmy Horn Jr. chopped liver? Will Shepard? I mean, this is possibly the deepest receiving core in the country, and it's in Boulder, Colorado. And granted, the running game is not great. They haven't been able to establish that really at all this season. But throwing the football, Colorado is elite. They have a Heisman caliber quarterback, possibly a Heisman contending quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. Their receiver core, you have four different options that are all good, great, elite, more so in that great elite category as well. And Kansas State, from a defensive standpoint, has been good against both the rush and the pass. My thing is, though, I'm not sure if we look at what Kansas State's gotten this season. They've seen Noah Fafita. They saw Ted McMillan, but we've talked about it with multiple people across the Locked On Podcast Network. You're right. Arizona's one-dimensional. They have two guys offensively. Like they're going to be Noah Fafita to Ted McMillan. I think Colorado has so many more weapons that Kansas State hasn't seen an offense like this. BYU was not. Would you agree? Like I don't think BYU gave them Tulane didn't give them the same offense they're going to get. I'm just not positive that the Colorado offense isn't good enough that Kansas State struggles to pick a guy to guard.
So I do agree with your point that Colorado's receiving core is superior to that of Arizona's. Now, is there a wide receiver who is as singularly good as Tetsuo McMillan? Also no, and I include Travis Hunter in there because T-Mac is wide receiver 1 in the NFL draft class of 2025. So whereas Travis Hunter is all-purpose / corner number 1 in all likelihood. But when I look at what Kansas State did against Arizona, that's where I get my confidence in the Wildcats here. Both these teams...
So that one game out of 5.
What's that?
Is that one game out of 5 that you get your confidence from Kansas State?
Not exclusively, but it is the point that I go to. Like, they have an ability to take a prolific passing attack with a great quarterback that, yes, has other weapons. On 3rd down and 7, where's Shedeur looking? Where's he looking? Sometimes they'll go to Jimmy Horn, for sure. He wants to go to number 12. He wants to go to number 12. It might not be quite as dependent of a connection as it is for Fafita and McMillan, because he feels like he only looks to number 4, whereas Shedeur Sanders is usually looking to number 12 on the perimeter. But that is still a high-level passing attack. That is still a team that knows how to throw the football. And Kansas State did an exceptional job. Now, the challenge, of course, is Kansas State's on the road. They were at home against Arizona. But here's the other thing that makes me like Kansas State. What can often be your best way to play defense against a high-octane offense with a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders? What is the best way to do that sometimes, Drake?
Sack him.
Make him a spectator. And Kansas State is going to line up, and they're going to run the football, and they're going to run it again. And when they get to 3rd and 6, they are going to quarterback run it for a 1st down. And they will chew the clock, and they will chew the clock. And yes, there will be some explosive plays in this game because I don't think either defense is fully dominant. I think Kansas State's has been better this year, but Colorado's, like I said, vastly improved. I look at Kansas State and say, you have the ability, you have the personnel, you have the mindset, the philosophy, the execution, everything has been there to run your offense in a way that makes Shedeur Sanders have as much productivity for long stretches of this game as you and I. Expect a lot of 6 to 8 minute scoring drives for Kansas State. Chris Kleiman needs to take field goals. Got to be able to take field goals in this spot, because I don't think that you can afford to go on the road and get into those situations. But if you are going to try and run out the clock a little bit more, depending on how explosive they are in the run game against Colorado, I think you've got to be willing to take your points, go down the field, chew some clock, and not give Shedeur Sanders as many possessions and plays as he's used to.
See, I'm worried that if that does become a game of field goals for Kansas State, they find themselves at some point down 14-6, that's where I worry about Avery Johnson, where we say, hey, Avery, we need you to go throw the football, that we need to move laterally quickly. I'm not sure Avery Johnson can do that yet, because he proved against BYU he couldn't. Granted, a superior BYU defense is what you're going to get from Colorado. I agree. But I don't know. I can't trust Avery Johnson to be the kid that says, all right, we're down 7, we're down 10. I'm going to go win us this football game with my arm. I'm not sure yet. Let's break down quickly for the next minute. For Colorado, they go to Arizona. Cincinnati, they host. Texas Tech on the road. Then a stretch against Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. These games are starting to look a lot easier for the Buffs. Are they a Big 12 contender based on how the rest of their schedule cracks out? Because Arizona might not be as good as expected. Still don't know about Texas Tech. Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State are back.
Some of us saw Arizona being just an average team coming. I don't know who those people were, but they certainly exist somewhere out there. Yes, many people have said all of these things. So if Colorado wins this football game, you have to look at them as a Big 12 championship contender. If they lose this football game, they're not technically out of it. For all intents and purposes, I think they are, because there are still a number of tough games on that schedule. And by the way, before the year, I picked Colorado to go to Arizona and upset the Wildcats. I have not wavered off of that prediction right now. I have not been given any evidence to think that what I thought before the year is going to change in the way it plays out in Tucson. But of course, their attention is on Kansas State. If you beat a team in Kansas State who I believe is capable of winning the Big 12, I'm not going to look at Colorado as a middle, not quite top of the second tier of the Big 12. No, I'll see you as a tier 1 team, because you will have gone on the road, not just beaten UCF, but dominated them, which is what a conference title contender would do. And if you then come back home off of a bye and you beat a team that before the season and during the year has been seen as a Big 12 conference title contender, yes, Colorado can move themselves into that upper echelon, but they have to win this game for me to see them as that.
Spencer, thanks very much.
You're so welcome.
That's Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football. He's going to join us in the next segment to pick all the Big 12 games. I'll see you in a second. This is Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time's where I go. I need tickets to that one game. I'm going to go to Game Time. I needed tickets to see UCF and Florida play. I went to Game Time. And Game Time said, hey, last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Here's a view of your seat, buddy. We have super deals. Seat views before you buy. Lowest price guaranteed as well. And Game Time ticket coverage is the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Folks, what time is it? That would be Game Time.